Hello everyone. So, after seeing Daniel Defoe, that is to say his life, his works, we saw he was a journalist and that he published various novels. He is one of the first artists, one of the first writers to live on his writing, quindi uno dei primi scrittori a vivere della sua scrittura. He published many newspaper articles, he wrote on various newspapers, and so he published novels. Let's say they are, as we have seen, one-hero novels, starting from Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders, Colonel Jack, and Roxana. So they are single character novels, and they are written with a narrator in the first person. It is the single character that narrates his or her adventures, which makes this narration quite subjective. Remember that the purpose of the novel is to be realistic, the main purpose being verisimilitude. He wrote Robinson Crusoe in order to sell the book, and in order to do so and make the book attractive, he wanted to make people believe that it was a true story. He didn't really, as I said before, have the intention of, sitting down, okay, I'm going to create a new literary genre, that is the novel. No, it was something that was done because he wanted to create something real, and he wanted people to believe that his story was real, which meant creating certain conventions. It's the story of an ordinary person, so his readers could identify themselves with his hero. They identify themselves with Robinson all through the story, in a certain place, because the place influences the desert island, influences Robinson's life. At a certain time, the chronology is very precise. He writes a diary, a journal, and so everything is quite coherent chronologically. Take your books, page 210. I'm going to go back and start reading about the characters. The hero Robinson belongs to the middle class, quindi un uomo della classe media. He is not a supernatural hero, he hasn't got supernatural power. He is not the hero of the epic poems. He is an ordinary man of the middle class. The middle class, in fact, are Defoe's readers. He is restless, quindi è senza pace, vuole sempre muoversi, and wants to find his own identity, vuole ritrovare la sua identità as an alternative to the model provided by his father, come alternativa al modello fornito dal padre. Actually, the story begins, in effetti, la storia inizia with an act of transgression, con un atto di trasgressione, of disobedience, di disubbidienza, which places the character in a situation of separation, che piazza il personaggio in una situazione di separazione, that will culminate with his isolation, che culminerà col suo isolamento on the island after the shipwreck, sull'isola dopo il naufragio. Robinson's life on the island develops the issue. La vita di Robinson sull'isola sviluppa la questione of the relationship between the individual and society, della relazione tra l'individuo e la società, between the private and the public spheres, tra le sfere private e pubbliche. The society Robinson creates on the island, la società che crea Robinson sull'isola, is not an alternative to the English one, non è alternativa a quella inglese. On the contrary, al contrario, it can be read, può essere letta as an exaltation of 18th century England, può essere letta come un'esaltazione dell'Inghilterra del XVIII secolo, and its ideal of mobility, e il suo ideale di mobilità sarebbe di fare viaggi, scoperte, material productiveness, di produttività materiale, and individualism ed individualismo. Defoe shows that though God is the prime cause of everything, dimostra che, sebbene Dio sia la causa primaria di tutto, the individual can shape his destiny, l'individuo può formare, può plasmare il suo destino through action, attraverso l'azione. Man can overcome doubt, l'uomo può vincere il dubbio, and modify reality through his work, e modificare la realtà attraverso il suo lavoro, and the interpretation of his achievements, e l'interpretazione delle sue realizzazioni, in the light of the Bible, alla luce della Bibbia, and God's will, e della volontà di Dio. Robinson has a pragmatic and individualistic outlook, quindi Robinson ha un aspetto pragmatico e individualistico. His objective and rational approach to reality, il suo obiettivo, il suo approccio razionale alla realtà, is demonstrated by his journal keeping, viene dimostrato dal fatto che lui tiene un diario. In fact, we can see that Robinson exploits the environment where he lives. He exploits nature to his own advantage. He's a colonialist and a capitalist, more than an environmentalist. His progress reinvents the learning processes. Il suo progresso reinventa i processi di apprendimento, of baking, di farsi il pane, shipbuilding, costruire una nave, carpentry, carpenteria, and farming, quindi l'agricoltura. Friday is the first native character. Venerdì è il primo personaggio nativo to be portrayed in the English novel, ad essere ritratto nel romanzo inglese. He is attractive and lively, è attraente e vivace. The moment Robinson rescues him, dal momento che Robinson lo soccorre, lo salva, he teaches him the word master, gli insegna la parola padrone, master. Western culture, gli insegna la cultura occidentale, which is seen as the best culture, and to read the Bible, e gli insegna a leggere la Bibbia. So Friday becomes the symbol of the colonized, quindi venerdì diventa il simbolo di un popolo colonizzato. Style, lo stile. So, as I told you, so the novel is written with a first-person narrator. It makes the narration quite subjective. The novel shows an objective approach to the events through clear and precise details. Il romanzo mostra un approccio obiettivo nel senso che gli eventi sono con dettagli chiari e precisi. But the details are seen by Robinson. Defoe concentrates his description on the primary qualities of objects. Defoe concentra la sua descrizione sulle qualità primarie degli oggetti, especially their solidity, specialmente la loro solidità, extension and number, estensione e numero, rather than on the secondary ones, piuttosto che su qualità secondarie, color, colore, texture, più o meno nel senso di consistenza del materiale, flavor, gusto. That is to say, he's a very practical person, so he has to see how he can exploit these objects, how he can use them to his advantage. The language is simple, il linguaggio è semplice, matter of fact, è un linguaggio materiale che parla di fatti, and concrete e concreto, to reinforce the expression of reality, per rafforzare l'espressione di realtà, conveyed by the first person narration, comunicato dalla narrazione in prima persona. Okay? Of the three great novelists of the 18th century, that is Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, and Henry Fielding, Samuel Richardson will develop the epistolary novel, that is to say, a novel written by corresponding letters, and also always written in the first person. Instead, Henry Fielding will use for the first time the third person omniscient narrator. He will also divide the novel into chapters. Instead, the structure of Robinson Crusoe is that of a diary, of a journal. Okay, right, goodbye, and then we shall see various extracts from Robinson Crusoe next time.